The Russell County Board of Supervisors meeting, a special called meeting for the purpose of our budget. At this time, we will rise for the invocation, and please stand, remain standing for the pledge.
Let us pray. Father God, Lord in heaven, we love you, we thank you, and we praise you today, Father. Father, we thank you for allowing us to come out and be a part of our local government, Father. And Father, we ask that you keep your hand of protection over us. Be with Rebecca, Father, as she's going through this loss. Be with us, lead us, guide us, and direct us in everything we do. In your name I pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, I will ask for the approval of the agenda, please.
Madam Chair, I make a motion we approve the agenda.
Need a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion or additions? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. And at this time, I will open up the public hearing. So, Mr. Lester, I have a public comment sign-in sheet, and no one is on here.
That is correct, ma'am.
So we'll give it its time, and anybody in the audience would like to speak to the budget. This is public notice for the budget only. Well, I see a shaking of heads. No one in this room wants to speak.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Then I will officially close the public hearing for the special call meeting for the budget. Next on the agenda is the county budget. So can we discuss that right now during our workshop, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And so you all have in front of you some information that Mr. Lester is ready to present. So I'm going to turn the floor over to him.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Now let's go to numbers. Let me turn this around some. Good afternoon, Board of Supervisors. Again, we're here this time of the year again to do the annual county budget. And we have been working with this all month long during the month of June, of course, where we have worked with each one of the departments. We have went back, we have re-evaluated, reanalyzed, and looked at various things in the county to meet our county budget, which we're required to under the Code of Virginia. And I do have some good news for you. As of 3:38 this afternoon, the governor ceremonially has signed the budget. Ceremonially, key word. So what that means to us here at the county level, we will be getting our federal and state numbers to be able to calculate a more accurate budget. There's a but. They have not released those figures yet. So those should be coming in within the next 24 to 48 hours from each one of the departments and Department of Budget and Planning. So what we can do today during our workshop, as you will see, and I will go through, what we have encountered during the previous fiscal year and what we will be looking at during the new fiscal year, okay? Because we know that as far as worldwide, national, and local and state, the economy is at a major hyperinflation. So what we're going to be looking at is what is affecting, of course, the county itself, to be able to, for the Board of Supervisors to be able to deliver the level of services that we've always done and always will. So, of course, on the screen here, that as well as in front of you, I have given you the 22-23 budget revenue projections. Now, as we have progressed through these, you have seen these numbers have changed over the previous budgets. As they come in and we make adjustments to various revenue line items and various expenditure line items, you've seen these amounts have changed, which is what a budget should be doing. A budget is flexible, it's operational, it should be able to be amendable to what the Board of Supervisors sees and approves for the county budget to be able to deliver its services. Okay, in the previous years, of course, this year is the big ones. As I have said in previous meetings, we have the $11 minimum wage that went into effect during the half year. We have the $12 effect that went in, it's going to go in this coming January. We also are looking at the VRS increases, and we're also looking at the county employee salary raises. Along with that, of course, is inflation. Inflation in our fuel cost, inflation in our employment cost, inflation in everything and every aspect of operation that we have. So that includes the electricity that we got on. As you know, everyone is asking for increases in fuel costs. From that to trash, and we'll go into that component later. So as we progress through this, and the Board of Supervisors, of course, has already passed a motion that there is no tax increases in Russell County. So with that being said, there's only two ways to be able to keep up with hyperinflation with increased employment cost and these other increases as far as operations. Now, that includes cutting cost, so I have no other way to go. So one of the things that you guys did enact, and I gotta say that this was a saving grace, and I know many men out there will not agree with me, but we passed the meal and cigarette tax. That was a $300,000 impact, and what we've seen through this in various inspections, because we audit this multiple times per month, various retail places, is the traveling public. It is where we said it was coming from. So this is additional money that the Board of Supervisors approved, condoned, and made it possible to where we did not have to raise the personal property nor the real estate in the Russell County. So that took a big burden off. But in hindsight, the Board of Supervisors was not anticipating, neither was the world, anticipating this hyperinflation period to keep up with it. Again, it's running 10 to 15%. I know what they're saying is 8, but that's numbers here said, you know. But that is what we're seeing on our books, is 10 to 15% increase. Now, for example, the disposal, our trash sites, and I'll use it for example, and a couple others, just on fuel alone in our disposal operations, our costs have increased up to $15,000 a month, $12,000 to $15,000 a month, depending on how many days we run. Now, and also the Sheriff's Department runs an average of $30,000 a month in fuel costs. That's 24/7, 365 public safety. That is required. I mean, it's in costs that we're incurring, and that's what costs y'all have had to incur while incurring the 11, the 12, the VRS, the 5% salary, no raise in taxes, and this hyperinflation. So again, the meal and food tax, meal and cigarette tax took a lot of a burden off the county, but we still lack a little bit to go. And the county administration and the Board of Supervisors, Treasurer and the Commissioner of Revenue, we have sat down with these numbers. One day we're taking them down, one day we're taking them up. So that's what we have progressed with over the last 30 days. not looking just at our numbers without looking at the state numbers. Now, one of the things that even came in today, and Mr. Breeden came in and we had a small discussion, that come to light with us, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a proposal to the Board of Supervisors and for consideration on this. So, as again, you can look through the variations in all the revenue taxations, the top 10, as I call them, the king and queen of taxation, or you can, and look at that and what we have in expenditures. Now, right now, everything is built into the budget, the 5% raise, the $11 to $12, the VRS. All the operations, including the disposal fuel cost, including the sheriff's fuel cost. So everything that we've got in there, and we're looking at $190,000 deficit right now today, this morning, give or take. This afternoon. So one of the things that I did give it out to you, and I apologize, this came to light, but I think that you will be okay with it coming to light, is in the previous Board of Supervisors meetings, we had also discussed a disposal fee. One of the things that we had discussed. But also we had discussed operational hours set standard. And we also discussed at one point, county stickers. Well, the board did not feel comfortable with that. I don't have to tell the public that because y'all did hold off on it. And at the time, there was hesitation on increasing the disposal fee during a hyperinflation, no more cost. So, but one of the things that we did while we were working towards this, we were looking at the landfill operations, we were looking at the leche operations, the cuts that we had done to it, and the cost savings we'd done to that. Well, we dove a little deeper, and now I want to thank Brian Ferguson for this. We got into what it would cost to standardize the hours. Now, before you on page 1 of the convenience site monthly cost, as you will see, we have presented to y'all the current schedule for the disposal fees, for all the operations, for all the disposal sites from Levin to Swords Creek. These are, of course, the current schedules. Now, in this current schedule, if you go to a standardized hours, and this is what's being proposed, we've looked at other counties and other examples of closed Wednesday and closed Sunday. Every uniform other disposal site during that time frame will be open other than the Moccasin, Drill, and Finney. Those are what we call unmanned sites. So those will remain open because, it doesn't have any manpower or labor involved in it. So that was taken out of the formula. When we were working on it this morning, we also took out the holidays and et cetera to take a look at it and to see what we could come up with in the cost savings. We looked at every actual day that we would be operational from January to December and ran and took out the unmanned sites. And what you were looking at right now, if you look at it on the monthly basis, this just reducing or going to a standardized schedule, I ain't gonna say reducing because actually you're increasing the hours on the open days. The monthly hours is equivalent to 1,760 hours. Now less the holidays, and then the hourly rates, as well as you know, we have to meet, this will be actually additional savings because we're not making the $12 an hour until January. So there is a 6 month, even more cost savings in our analysis because what our site attendants now make is $11 an hour, which is minimum wage, and it will progress to $12 an hour in January. Okay, so if you look at, and they're all hourly, they're not full-time with benefits. All of our site attendants are part-time. So based off their schedules, closing on Sunday, closing on Wednesday, extending the hours, calculating the holiday hours, as of course as you can see, what we're going to save is $274,000. Now that is that is true numbers, hour for hour movement. So, and a give or take. Now, what I've proposed, and I have talked to Chairman Wallace, and what we are proposing is, what we're giving you, and I know you haven't had time to review, of course, we have to approve and adopt the final budget on the 29th. Give y'all time to go back to your residents and come up with the standardized hours of operation for Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday that you would like to see. And if you do that, we could, if you need to extend an hour here, but they gotta be uniform, if you can extend the hours, say, or reduce or move, whatever you want to do and look at this, we can adjust those numbers down. But my point is this, if we can save $270,000 by going to a standardized operation, which again, it came out of the disposal fee, we were just looking at different components and we pulled this one out, it will cover the $190,000 deficit. So.
Just changing these hours.
Yes, just changing the hours, because what it does, and again, we looked at Washington County, Smith County has the same thing, you can go over the hill and they're closed on Wednesdays, that's just the way it is. Now, again, the only sites that this will not apply to is the open top, which is Moccasin, Drill, and Finney. But the labor component is equivalent. And we went back through them. I even went back through, because in the first analysis when we was doing it this morning, we didn't even we hadn't calculated in the FICA and the rest and the holiday, so we did even push more detail. So I said, Brian, you gotta go back and we gotta pull the, full records, payroll records, get account detail on what this operation will do to you. So we've cut the leche. We've cut costs where we can. You didn't raise taxes. You got a 5% raise on the table, 2% VRS, $11 and $12 movement, all in cost-cutting methods. So this is what I'm proposing for the board to consider as part to cover the Russell County deficit of $190,000.
Now, Mr. Lester, let's
Yes.
make this clear that we're looking at standardized timelines across the county. So we're gonna all have to figure out what works in our districts so that everybody knows that Finney, or not Finney because they're open tops, but the Belfast, Dogtown, and all these that have, all these that have compactors and that are manned will all be under the same times.
Same hours.
And we also talked about that summertime, we might need to be a little more lenient and push the hours out. And in the wintertime, at 5 o'clock, nobody wants to be going to the trash dump at 5 o'clock when it's dark. So I'm thinking that we need to work on that also.
Thank you. And one of the things that y'all will be looking at, whether they go to Dogtown or the Belfast or Cleveland, it's the same hours. That way there's no more confusion. And I get a lot of calls. Seriously, what hours are these opens and what, where's your schedules at? Because none of them is on the same schedule, number one. Number two is, and we did, when I was talking to Chairman Wallace, it did come up, okay, in the afternoons, but again, at VDOT, what we did, we had a summer schedule and had a winter schedule. So we could set that in stone. During the winter cold months, there's no reason, because I can tell you right now, many of the residents, especially of the female gender, during the winter months, dark, will not get out at a trash site. No matter if it's lit or not lit, it's just not, that's some of the comments that we get. But some of them, it's too cold. When it's that afternoon, or in the summer, everybody wants the afternoons. Let's go to the flip side. In the summer, everybody wants it in the afternoons rather in the mornings. Now, you got the 6 districts and at large, so if we, we can send out, what Washington County has as a schedule. Of course, it's Monday, Tuesday, off Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, off Sunday.
Do they do their hours also for winter time, summertime?
No, they do not.
They do not fluctuate?
They do not. They do not
Okay.
fluctuate, but that's not a bad thing. I mean, we're just taking what will work in Russell County, I agree, because
Problem, but I don't want everybody to sit there in the dark and nobody's coming to bring their garbage and we're paying for that, so.
And we will. Carl will tell you, in some of the places at dark, it's vacant. We actually keep a time traffic count of when our heaviest workloads is throughout all 365 days. When the heaviest loads come in and what time of days they come into. And we can give you that data too. You can look at it. But to come to the key point is, like on the current schedule, on the convenience side, the current schedule in Lebanon is from 10 to 7. Now, that will work well in the summer months, or you may, and it is. But one of the things I want you to do, don't count it as, that is a 9-hour of operation right there, from 10 to 7. You have, the point I want to make is, you have 200, and we reran these numbers, and I made, me and Brian went around and around, and Vicki would tell you, I made an obligation. We've counted every cost that we could find in to get as a realistic, not an estimate, cost that we can do these. If you want to add an hour on the 10 to 8 at the Lebanon site, but whatever you do, you need to do it across the board uniform. But you got to remember is out of that 270 that you're saving for every hour that you add is taking down that amount. Because once you add it at Lebanon, you have to add it at Cleveland, Castlewood, Dogtown.
I got a question. Like on here, you've got Belfast and Blackford. I guess you was alternating them, but now you've got them both manned full time. But I thought you had Blackford open, and when Blackford wasn't, Belfast was closed. When Belfast was open, Blackford, vice versa.
No, what schedule I've got that says the 274 on the first page, that it says the current schedule, but that's the current proposed schedule.
What I'm asking you right now is Blackford and Belfast open at the same time, manned at the same hours? Will they be manned?
Yes, they
at
will.
the same hours?
All
under
manned
this
sites,
proposal, but right now
it's flipped.
It's
yes.
it's flexed back
Yes,
and
it is.
forth.
You either run to one or you go to the other.
Okay. Well,
That's
I'm just
correct.
wondering. Wouldn't you keep it flexed if you're that close in proximity to save more money?
Actually, the standardized schedule is the one. If we start flexing, then you're going.
So you're just talking just standard across the board at every
yes,
location?
every location. That way, when.
What about Sundays? What's going to happen like in these Moccasin Drill and Finney
Moccasin Trail and Finney will stay open.
on Sundays?
These
gonna
are
be
open
closed.
top. These are open top.
Well, I know, but you've got them closed.
I know he does. So, yes.
I'm a little concerned, especially we own a farm and property in our Moccasin. I went down there on a Sunday after we cleaned up the shop. There was about 7-8 cars and I was waiting in line down there to haul off, to put out
Right.
trash on a Sunday after
Right.
church.
Well, and right now in the schedule, I'm sorry. On the schedule, he has it closed. But after talking with Mrs. Wallace and taking a look at this, the open tops is not going to be that much of a factor because it is not manned. It will not calculate into the hourly analyst. So leaving those open will not affect, and if it does add a little bit of cost or another tram cost, you've got enough cushion into these cost savings to be able to sustain the standardized schedule, plus leaving the unmanned trash sites, disposal sites, open continuously.
I'd like to bring this up to the board too. Something that I think really works. I don't know how we do it, but the company up in Belfast, J&J trash service that goes around and picks up residential trash. They don't charge an arm and a leg, but they do a great service in our community. We have an aging population, and it's hard for elderly people, you know, especially if somebody don't take their trash off for them, or, you know, for them to go to a site and be able to do it. And I know our employees work greatly with elderly people, but I'd like to see our board down the road here, if we ever get to the point where we had to have a trash fee, I'd like to see part of that as working with not saying this company, but, you know, I know we'd have to probably bid it out.
Private sector.
A private sector company, to be able to go and pick up the trash. I mean, that's something I think would be a great service for our areas and our communities. And I think it would be justifiable looking at it that way, but I think there were going to have to be many discussions on what it would be, or the rate of what it would be, or whatever. But I do know they do a fantastic job right now, and it's just a private business, but I know for a lot of,
I think that's how that would have to be done, as a private entity. I know Buckingham
Right.
County's getting out of the business.
They're getting
aren't
out
they?
of
It's just, it's just so expensive with all the trucks and such you have to have. you know.
Well, see, all private entities under the landfill ordinance, transfer station, there is a permit fee, as y'all know. Y'all have enacted. We do work with those small companies. There's one in Castlewood. There's actually one, yes. And we work with them from this perspective here. And Brian will tell you, if they pick it up, it's not over the hill. It also gives it to the elderly. Any way not to, it costs so much when it goes out that window onto the roadside that, you know, extending the hours a couple here on the summer, you'll save your money.
well, trash is never going to go away. I mean, it's just how you manage it, how you come up with creative thinking or ideals to do it. But I know the company in Castlewood that's doing it, and different ones that's starting to privatize and do that. That's a great service. I mean, it is. I mean, just figuring out how we work with those entities to be able to make it work for the county, I think would be worth discussion at this point.
Right.
And I think that you've done a great job in working with them for the permitting, because when they gather it all up and take it to the landfill, then that becomes an issue there. So I think that the county has done a great job in working with the private sector. And that's what we want. We want less government and more entrepreneurs.
Well, and another thing that while we was looking at it with you know, of the trash sites, and one of the things that came up, now you can look at Washington County. It's got a population base about 58,000 plus during the last census, give or take. They have 13 trash sites, but if you'll look at their operational cost on what they do, they're in the seven figures. So they're good at this. I'm telling you, I hate to say it, and I ain't being facetious, but the mob's in the trash business. I mean, there's a reason. There's money in it, and that's one of the things for consideration. So when this proposed it, because we were looking at trying to do the disposal fee and trying to do the stickers to cut down, and each thing had its own component. You know, one was a revenue base, one was to make sure that only county residents were able to utilize our facilities, because they were coming across the lines from Buchanan County, Tazewell County, Washington County. So
Well, it's like working with Jeremy down there to move him down there to handle our recyclables. That's made a huge difference for him to be able to help the county with the recyclables of the three counties through the Cumberland Plateau Waste Management Authority. So these partnerships, relationships are really, like I agree with Ms. Wallace, they're crucial from the private industry to help them.
And with the price of metal right now, and his business is not even slowed down. I mean, it is. He's hired employees. I mean, it's a cycle. But, and again, this is one of the proposals that we wanted to give to you, because we have went over the county numbers. We went over the county revenue. We have tweaked this. We have tried to set and listen what the governor would say, what the feds were saying. But this way, by accepting a standardized schedule, being able to put in this cost cutting effectively, you don't have to wait on the state. You can move now.
Well, I think you've done a good job here.
And
10
no, this is.
Monday and
this
Friday,
is,
10 to
this is a
7.
teamwork.
Monday and Friday, 10 to 7. Tuesday and Thursday, 7 to 7. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. And then Saturday is 7 to 4, which is kind of the oddball out there.
But, and the Saturday was done, but again, if you have to move an hour here, you want an hour here. If you want a winter schedule or summer schedule, I like that idea of the winter and summer, because we do get a lot of calls in, this is not lit up, they don't feel comfortable, it's too cold, there's snow on it, we can't keep it covered, because it becomes more evolved in the winter times, trying to keep the side opens on these locations on the hills, trying to keep the snow down and the entrances cleared. And it's hard to get out and help the elderly when it's blowing zero.
Well, with the standardized schedule, everybody know where to go. I mean, right now, they'll call all of us, why ain't you open? Where am I gotta go to haul my trash off? Well, with this, everything be standard. So, I mean, I like the standard policy. I think, we might have to critique maybe a little bit of hours here and there to make sure that it works for the citizens of the county, but I do like, I appreciate y'all working on this, and Ms. Wallace and all y'all are trying to put something like this
I can't take
together.
credit for it, it's my team, and like I said, Brian and I,
Well, thank
and-
all
and-
of 'em.
And even the Waste Management Authority, even Toby, even to the Waste Management, because right now, whether they know it or not, of course, we talk trash and money, but, and that's one and the same, and we were discussing it this morning, the fees that the transfer company that charges us from the landfill to Bluntful, that thing is coming up next year. So we've got to find a way to cut costs, because there's other things down the road that are going to be coming at us.
Okay, well, not to throw a snag in here, but this is something that we did not discuss. And I think that we're looking at these highlighted in yellow, which is drill, Finney, and moccasin.
Yes, ma'am.
And so I'm wondering, on the savings, now I know you don't want to hear this, but possibly on the savings, can we move forward to get permanent sites for these other districts? Or is that something that we need to just work
Well-
on as we go?
Well, and part of this one right here, let's go down the moccasin drill and
I'm sorry,
Fanny.
Mr. Lester, I know,
You
I
put me
threw
on.
you right out there, didn't I?
Yes, you did.
Okay, but I think this is a discussion that my fellow board members are interested in.
Okay, right now, if anyone wants to drive by, we're working on the sun disposal side. We've, the crews have got this down to a science now, that we can do approaches and ramps, and we've got it prefabbed down, and we can, we've got these sites down. So when sun is done, then we're moving to Honaker. That was what the board had conveyed to me before, and that was where we were moving to. Now, to give the board caution just on the drill, and I'm going to pull it out. You're on the Buchanan County line, and it runs the third highest in the county, and let me explain, it's not your trash. So you're paying for another county. So that's where we're trying to get into all-man sites, and then, of course, we have proposed, the county stickers, and of course, that was another issue. But by having them manned, it keeps them within 15-minute radiuses of driving time. Y'all are so close that you don't realize it, but one of the things that you don't need to do is set in lease when you own Honaker. It will give them opportunity to pull in all that traffic for business. While they're there, they will go to a restaurant. They will stop and at the dollar store. They'll stop here. They'll go to the bank. They'll do whatever they need to do, but it will pull that traffic in. If you look at our radius on our maps of each one of the disposal sites, we have one in Cleveland that is manned. It's right at the school right now, and it's at the end of New Garden Road. You go down to Honaker on New Garden Road. These are logistically being placed in 15-minute radiuses, that no matter where you live in the county, there's a couple of places. Of course, Tim will tell you that I've got a blind spot way down on the lower end, so I don't know how I'm going to do that one. So, yeah, take it. Well, I hope they're not listening. Just across the line. Buchanan ain't going to do it. So, but I hope I answered your question in a
Yes, you did.
roundabout way, because
You
I
did.
know I'm dancing here.
I know, but we talked a little bit about this, but I wanted this board to hear that we have been concerned to try to fix some of our problems that they're dealing with. And I think it's important for them to know that. So I just wanted you to say it publicly that,
Yes, and another thing, what y'all gotta realize is, and you know, I get some comments, you know, we go out and buy $10, $15, $20,000 piece of property, put a trash side on, and we kind of work with communities, because a lot of people don't want them adjacent to their houses. But when we put that in, you sounds like $20,000 a lot of money. Look at the monthly cost just on one site, $23,000. That's how fast I can recoup savings. That is how fast.
Well, when I met with the mayor and town council in Honaker, you know, when we was looking at a potential site, I tried to explain to even the residents that these sites don't smell. I mean, they don't.
Right.
This
New
trash is
compactor.
moved and clean and nice. I mean, that's why they're very nice, convenient sites. Everyone I think that this board has been behind to build and put in, they're nice. I mean, if you go to other areas.
Oh, yeah, go to them.
Go to them
It's
and
a
see what
open can.
them are like.
You-
Even the one at Washington County on the right at the double bridges, it ain't near as nice as what that we're being able to construct. And I think just the people's perception of just trash, they think it smells. But I mean, you can go by these sites, and I mean, up there at the horse ring and the Cleveland School and all that, that site sits there. Why, you don't smell any of that.
And
Oh, okay.
We had concerns at
Thing I like
Mox.
to speak about, you talk about these unmanned mosque gun drill in Finney to try to keep, especially drill Buchanan County's trash coming in here. If you man that, would you be by paying those salaries to have a man, would you be saving money having a man more than what you tonnage would be on Buchanan County trash?
like I said,
You can't calculate how much is coming in from Buchanan County. You know the tonnage is high, as you say.
right.
Can you justify having someone to man that, the salary above what?
Okay, let me make sure that we're talking apples and apples here financially. If you cut my tonnage at drill by closing off Buchanan County, the cost will go down. It will cover your costs for operating Honaker, period. Guarantee it, right down, standing here before you. Guarantee it. Based off the time. Yes. Because not only are you saving and that's the next thing I'll go into with you, because we're not completely done with the disposal, because I got another thing to propose to you next on the disposal sites. But you're correct, and the next component of the sites is the lease sites. Now, Blackford and Drill is leased, so therefore you will eliminate that annual cost on it. So that is another one. And now that you've opened that one for discussion, I'll open up the last one. Of course, we know that the Board of Supervisors has been notified that the property owner of the Finney trash site has notified us at the end of July that the Finney trash site is closing. We have been working with a couple of property owners to be able to take a look at a potential site. Remember now, Finney is an open top. It is in the yellow. It is an open top. So it's not a big compactor. I don't need three-phase power. It's a lot less regulatory from that and OSHA and the rest as these man sites are. But that's at the discretion of the Board of Supervisors. Right now, we have talked to 2 property owners on a potential site. And I'll have to bring that before the board when we get it more definitive, so. But you've got it based off of what y'all began at the beginning on the planning on this. You're almost there. And that 15-minute radius, fully compacted, other than your open sides, which is, drill will go away. So there alleviates one of them. The other ones are so far out, like Finney. But see, Finney, it would make a good open site, but if you look at the monthly tonnage, the compactor cost is what, it'd have to equal the pactor. So when you open one up and you man it, you gotta consider the operation cost, the electrical cost, and the manpower. So based off the tons that we've got coming in there. Finney doesn't have a lot of tonnage. It just don't. But it's a great candidate for an open top. So that's at the discretion of the Board of Supervisors.
So you would put one in Honaker and close drill in Finney is what
I
we're
would
talking-
have closed drill and Blackford.
Okay, because that's what was making sense. You were gonna have one in Honaker and Blackford right there. Okay.
Yeah, Blackford will close. See, we're leasing, if you look into the pages, on the second page, I have the rental rates for the sites that we're leasing. So right now, as you can see, radio station we're leasing, Blackford we're leasing, drill we're leasing, and Finney we're leasing. We have 4 sites that we're currently leasing. So drill will go away, and Blackford will go away, which is another annual savings.
Where would the Honaker site to be located if you go west drill in Blackford?
Based off of talking with the local property owners there, because we've already started that too, and the town of Honaker, because, we can, just like us working with the town of Lebanon, we had to work with the town of Lebanon. We want it in a location that both of us feel comfortable with. Again, not it, and I think a couple of the council members have come and looked at the Lebanon site, yes. And seeing how automated it is, clean it is, and the way it will be on the same, because again, Honaker is into your third and fourth highest, because you remember, you're gonna be picking up drill, and you're gonna be closing down Blackford, so you will probably become the number 2 trash disposal site, is it in the county. Based off the tonnage and the number of houses in the clusters, you will become, when we do away with those, you will become the biggest sites.
And these will be compact sites.
These will be compacted, manned, compacted.
Manned,
with-
compacted.
Yes, secured.
Can you use compact?
We can. We're looking at that, and yes, absolutely.
But where is that, I asked you, where is the site gonna be for
No, we have not, I apologize. There's 3 sites that's been, proposed, yes. But it'll have to be like an agreement between the Board of Supervisors and the Honaker Town Council, everybody's good. And it probably, just like the town of Lebanon, it might not be a bad idea for the town of Honaker and the board to have a public hearing, the town of Honaker, yeah. To make sure all citizens, are comfortable with it too. But if they was to drive one, and believe it or not, Brian is getting better at it as his building. I mean, you looked at Swords Creek, that was mine. I built that one. Brian took over, and then look at Lebanon, Dogtown. Sun is gonna be, each one that we build gets better, because it's lessons learned. We learn, lessons that how to make it more efficient, in and out, entrances, lighting.
Okay,
So we
District,
can get a bill for
District
trash.
1.
Well, yeah, what we're gonna do about
District
South
1.
71?
Again, we'll have to come, Scott County, I like Steve.
Well, that's what they're doing now, and they're going down there and they're spending their money in Nicholsville, and they're going on to Gate City.
And we had looked at the Scott at down at 71, because if you look at and I know, again, you're getting near the Nutter County line, and it's always a concerning issue. But when we did the census, if you look at the number of cluster of houses that's down there, you're talking 4,000 houses. There's like 4,000 houses down there around that cluster. So,
Well,
but you can't find land, because there's the property owner in most of the county, and I ain't gonna say no names, that owns most of all the ones.
I don't understand.
hard to get
All the counties have the same issue. I don't understand why we don't go into some sort of financial obligation with county, and say, look, man, we're taking your garbage, you're taking our garbage. Why don't we build it close to the line or something, and we'll go in together on it, we'll man it, we'll share the expense, and fix this problem. I mean, that's just like Tim down on the lower end. Why don't, I mean, not hassle one up, but have a meeting with them. And say, hey, look, we'll build a nice system down here, and we'll partner with you on it. If we can find a piece of land that we can partner on, I mean, I think it makes sense to at least have a conversation with them.
Oh, I'll agree, in theory.
I don't know what you mean by that.
Okay, let me give you an example. At one time, of course, Lebanon is number one trash site in the county as far as tonnage. Drill was number 2. Okay, Wise County closed down, and I ain't gonna say which one, raised their taxes 7 cents on the 100 on the real estate and closed the disposal site near us. Now guess who number 2 trash site, which it got in front of you, is Hamlin. We're pulling Wise County trash.
Well, I understand that, but I mean, just to have a
And
conversation with them.
We did.
You really wouldn't, I mean, it'd be like the Waste Management Authority.
It would have
Yeah,
to be.
and I get what you're saying, because the Moccasin site, I know, gets Scott County trash. We
It's
know
Scott
it does.
County trash.
And Nicholsville gets lots of South 71 trash from Russell County. So, you know, it's happening anyway. And I don't know what you do, I mean,
Right. And they have been looking at property down through there, but again, it's hard to find. I mean, you can go from county line all the way to 58. It's locked. You couldn't squeeze in there.
we can find a little, I know, it's not.
Mr. Lovelace is
Yeah,
going
when
to
it
work
wasn't on
on
fire.
this.
Let me work.
Drag down the road.
He's
Let
going
me
to
work
work
on
on
that.
this. We're going to get him assigned.
But again, here's my point. We love talking trash, but
I have a question, Lonzo, too.
Yes.
Going back to the convenience site, on Wednesdays and Sundays. Like the Moccasin Drill and Finney, will they still be open on Wednesday, or will they be closed on Wednesday?
right now, on your schedule, he's got it closed. But like I said during the conversation, and I hope that y'all got it, you have the opportunity if you want to do it. But when you do it, you take my 270, the 270 savings. Everything that you add to it
Right.
takes away from the annual savings. So if you want to, but if you open up one site, you got to open up all 3 unmanned sites. Whatever you stay uniform to, because I'm just trying to be fair.
Yeah, I think,
You're still gonna get, sister counties trash, because your open tops are.
Until we get rid of drill and those outliers, you're going to always get them, or, go into, it's like some counties do, again, I'll mention it, the little county stickers. But until you but a lot of they're hesitant to come into a site that is manned. That's just human nature. They know they're in Russell County and a manned site, and they pull in with a Tazewell County sticker on their thing, and they're going, which we had one, come out just this morning. We had one out of Florida flying through, but no, but here's what, no, they moved from Florida to here. They hadn't changed their tags yet. See, you get to knowing a lot of things allow people doing trash, so. But again, you got 270,000 potential savings. Get a standardized operating hours, get a summer schedule, winter schedule, and, that's up to y'all.
Like,
A different schedule in winter time than the summer. So, you got 7 as late as you stay open through the summer, I would say 5 o'clock, because it's gonna get dark about that time.
well,
Yes.
it will, and I don't disagree with that, but just remember, people work the same hours in the winter as they do in
I
the
do.
summer, so so.
I do, and we do, but if you'll look at, and we'll send y'all that data sheets of January through December on peak times, because we do number counts, actually, we do number counts, of when they're coming through during the winter. You'd be surprised. Actually, the best time is from 10 o'clock to 4 o'clock. I don't know why, but that's the numbers that come through.
Is they couldn't, we weren't open early enough or we weren't open late enough. So this 7 to 7 on Tuesdays and Thursdays should kind of
Clear all that
satisfy
out.
that need.
Exactly.
Yes. So I think I'm hearing that we almost have a consensus, so we're gonna give it another week. That's all you have to study all of these lovely notes, which
And if you need any more data, we got data.
I think you do.
I
Wow.
think you provided adequate information. I like the being standard across the board.
do
I
too.
think that makes it a lot better than very complicated for people knowing where to go.
I even have people from the town call me and say, what is the site out here? What's the site here? I mean, you can ask Loretta and Vicky, they want to know the schedule. Even though we keep it up on the website and we've got it on the trash sites, we've got their operation hours. People forget, which, they don't keep up with, the operating hours. So this says uniform, all of them across the board.
Okay, Lonzo, like on Wednesday here, I know, we've got everything closed. All right, that's gonna push more trash on Thursday or Tuesday, okay? All right, so what I'm thinking, can we not open up like, 3 sites on Wednesday? One for the Honaker area, one for the Lebanon, one for the Castlewood? And that way, if people needed to go, they could go to a standardized place.
See, right now, if you do it the way we run our operations, and if you look at the other counties, they do the Wednesday and the Sunday. I mean, this is no big one, and it's always the middle of hump week.
Yeah,
But
and leaving these moccasin, drill, finny open will accommodate, I mean, if somebody's really like in a bind and they need to they can go to one of those if we don't mess with those, the unmanned sites.
and what you
Who accumulates
it can be,
so much
yeah,
trash
but-
they can't have it closed one day?
Right, exactly. And what you gotta remember on that Wednesday, when they're closed, Brian's crews are moving and hauling and getting it prepped for the Thursday opening. You see what I'm saying? See, right now, we got 3 disposal trucks that are running. They're sharing, yes, it would. That's why we're asking this. That's why this cost savings will happen. But you see the hourly. But by using the 3 trucks, we're cutting the costs on the leche, which is working perfectly, and we're getting ready to cut it even more. But we also using that alternative 3rd truck to be able to move the trash in. So if y'all get any calls of something being full, you let us know, because we've got the operations in place to be able. Me and Brian were talking about that, and we look back through on the comments and complaints. If it's full, it's somebody's come in intentionally with multiple truckloads that quickly and filled one up on the unmanned, not the manned.
Right.
Hey, that's my point. Yeah, there you go. That's a good one. We can make money on that one. Just come on down. Yes, absolutely. Which a lot of people don't understand. That's a trash site too. Right. They don't. They think of it as commercial.
I've got word that, Love's sending some people to the transfer station if they got much trash.
Yeah,
I've got complaints from people because she done that,
right.
and she just didn't wanna fill up the compacts out here premature, I guess you would say.
Yeah, there's some things that, under our rules and regulations and OSHA and all that they can't take, like construction materials, et cetera, and they'll move them down to the transfer station. That's per the ordinance of the Russell County, so.
Covers your 190.
It does.
You got about 300,000 for regional.
I haven't got those numbers yet. I hope, Steve, I was doing so good here. Well, here's what we do know, and Tim this is what we do know, but there's a but. And see if I
We've
get
got
this
the
right.
numbers. We met this morning at 10.
Oh, did you? You got the numbers? We good?
We're good.
Because I was.
We're good.
We were in and we were out.
We're good.
Give him a minute, he's got him.
I'll find it, but it's $271,000 we're getting back
Okay,
next month.
but
274,
but
isn't it?
what is next year's fee?
360 something. And I don't remember what it was the year before. I want to think it was 280.
Can I see that?
While they're looking that up, Madam Chair, can I ask a question? Can I ask a question? I've been talking to a couple of companies that do surveying, and I had one of them contact Lonzo, on our GIS. They had informed me that we have a lot of property in Russell County, that we're not even collecting taxes on.
Yes, we know. I happen to know someone too that knows that. So those are.
I
the
figured you
GIS.
did.
The GIS is not, you don't go by that.
Yeah, I understand. But I mean,
Boundaries
And then you got people that call you and say, here is our property line, which does not exist. It just exists out there in cyber.
well, I know, I was shown 20 acres of property that we're not collecting tax on at all. And I don't know how you fix that, but I think that needs to be looked into a little bit, even if we had to contractually get somebody involved and surveyors involved to fix this for us, because that's hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Well, if you'll remember now, we opened it up so that our real estate folks would be able to use our sites. And somehow or another, we were supposed to be updating this, and I don't know what happened. We didn't have any money to do so, I guess. I have no idea. But this is a complicated little system, and I don't know how to fix that. You'd need a professional to tell you how to do it, I guess.
Taking some of those old deeds, yeah, taking some of those old deeds and trying to fit it on maps.
And it's untelling. I mean, I just went to one guy and he showed me 25, 30 tracts of property that we're not collecting any tax on, and 4 of them didn't they even know who owned it. I'm just like, man, it'd be nice if we could apply for some kind of funding to get. I mean, it would take probably a crew of different surveyors to be able to work in every inch of the county to fix this, but I think it's going to have to be done eventually down the road.
We don't disagree, yes. We've all discovered this, yes. You found more money, Mr. Lester. While you're looking, Mr. Lester, we enacted the cigarette tax, but the Virginia General Assembly did not give us the authority to enact any other tobacco tax. Is that correct?
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I'm running,
I know,
I'll
you're
get back to the
excited.
board on these numbers.
Okay.
Because these like the state and the feds ain't coming through.
It'll be next week. It'll be next week when you can talk about that.
I'm sorry, repeat your
So,
question, ma'am.
did the Virginia General Assembly, they did not address
Occupancy?
the other tobaccos,
No, they did not.
only smoking?
That is correct. That was one of the
And they
things.
haven't done that this year either.
That's correct.
So we cannot enact anything else on tobacco products?
No.
Thank you.
No, ma'am, we're at the cap, yes, of what y'all decided on. And to give all fairness, the towns followed suit, so everybody is in the same range. Yeah, so. Again, I'll look at those numbers, not that, I gotta say, I'll go through them and plug them in fast enough to make sure that the regional jail hasn't moved some cost on the reduction of inmates, et cetera, et cetera. But
So we'll be able to see this at the next
Yes, ma'am.
meeting?
You just send us out a copy of it.
I can. I will. I will. But again, that one was at the top, number one on my list was the regional jail. Actually, I was more worried about the regional jail than I was the sales tax. Because what they had done in this trade-off between the city of Bristol is, and during the reduction in laws and doing the COVID, we went from a population estimate of 180 on an annual basis. That was our numbers. Now we've dropped to 160, but every other county dropped down too, which on a per diem basis, it makes the cost per inmate per day go up, even though you're going down in numbers, so.
Right, but if Bristol hadn't came on, it would have been even worse.
Worse, they would've.
Because Bristol is, you gotta remember, they're paying a premium per diem, and they're paying for 200 inmates, whether they have 200 or 5.
Right, exactly.
And he said,
So that's helping, that's helping it to not go out of.
and I asked him, I said, why are you just holding on to 8? That is all to keep the facility functioning.
Well, now 8 is still in their facility. 8 is still in their facility, but
Yeah, the regional jail was one of my major concerns, but we'll take a look at those numbers, but again, what we have proposed for the budget, and one of the last things is, we had a board member, the board wanted to know about the health insurance, and Katie sent that out, so, okay. And what I pulled up, this is out of the general ledger. It looks like, based off of these are the revenues and expenditures, we have to keep about a balance of 7.1 million, in that range on hand. So, I was telling Ms. Wallace and Mr. Breeding this morning, I would like to have took the money to do a reduction in health, the employee premium side. I was trying to snatch it from that, but they wouldn't even let me do that. So, but again, that was one of the most best kept secrets, I hate to say it, in this whole budget thing. We have went from a major deficit to a surplus to back to an 80-20. We will compete, and Tim and Steve both said on that board, we can compete with any county in this region as far as health insurance. I don't pick one. I mean, there may be, I think, the 1 or 2 instances where the single is a little bit lower than what we've got, but I'm telling you, our family plan, some of them, ours is in the 700s, it's $1,100 to $1,200 a month on the employee side. So, if y'all want to see the numbers, I'll put that out to you too. But that we went to stabilizing. It is a great program. Everything is in place. So it was hard work, but the board stuck in there. So we fixed that problem. But again, on the disposal sides, please think about it for consideration. Think about the consideration for the schedule. We'll implement that in the budget and put it into operations July the 1st. One more thing before I go. Now, one of the things that the governor has said. And this is the law he had just ceremonially signed. Now, in it, the schools and the Constitution officers, 5% raise begins August 1st, not July 1st. I don't know how they started there, but that's their logic and reasoning. So we will have to be uniform in our budget. So my proposal right now, and then these numbers that you have before you currently, has that 5% into the July. So I will be removing that. So that will be a little additional savings because we have to match what's in the Code of Virginia, so everybody is uniform through all departments and state and local. So August, I don't know, August the 1st is what he wrote into law. It's so strange. August the 1st. But other than that, board, thank you for consideration. Let me know if you have any questions. Give me a call, send me an email, but thank you.
And at this time, I will ask for any citizens' comments after we've hashed out the budget a little bit. Anybody out there need to say anything concerning what you've heard so far? I'll allow that. All hearts are clear. So next meeting, Mr. Lester, so we can come back and do this all over again.
Got me? Okay.
It is already said.
It's already
but
said, yes.
I
That's what's
need
going,
you to-
June the 29th at 6 p.m.
June 29th at 6
It's
p.m.
It is
Okay.
the adoption, the final adoption of the Russell County budget by law.
Very good. And at this time, I will adjourn this meeting. Thank you so much. Mr.
Something for you, John. The last meeting, I made a statement that I hadn't attended but 2 of the budget meetings. That's the only 2 I've been notified that they've had. So I want to clear that up to the public and the board members. Not that I had skipped some that I could have attended, but those are the only 2 I was notified about.
And I think that's about all we've had so far without knowing everything. So
Yeah.
thank you very much.
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.